We are joined by the chairman of Citadel Capital, Dr. Ahmed Heikal. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Mr. Heikal, you know, we talk a lot about Egypt and Egypt's economy here on Bloomberg in general, and it seems that actually the progress that we were promised in terms of reforms, in terms of better accepting for investors, is very, very slow. Do you think the government needs to do enough now to attract foreign direct investment? Because otherwise it's going to be much more difficult for Egypt to get back on its feet.
I think, you know, it's the downgrading of Egypt today speaks, you know, to the fact that Egypt will encounter difficult macroeconomic conditions in what's to come. The issue is, can the government, which is a temporary government, do all the necessary steps to
entice almost investors, I guess.
Not only entice, but you need to tackle some major restructuring in the energy sector. You need, especially in the energy sector, I think that's something where the government needs to look and is looking very hard. The problem is those decisions are not always driven by a temporary government. Yeah. A caretaker government. Those are very deep changes, fundamental changes that a caretaker government is not always able to do.
Yeah, because it's difficult to push through, of course.
Absolutely.
But so, if I speak to you, when is it going to be the time where actually Egypt will stabilize, where we see a little bit more of a back to normality? Is it going to take 2 to 3 years? For example, for Citadel, now you're a private equity firm, how difficult is it for you to find good deals in this kind of environment?
On the contrary, today in this environment, it is very easy to find good deals. The problem is how to finance those deals. Because on the, you know, the government today has a balance sheet that has overstretched. The debt is quite high. I don't think that Egypt, the Egyptian government can provide the goods and services that it used to have. It is going to retrench from certain markets, and that will provide very important growth opportunities for the private sector in general and for the private sector in particular. The issue is how to finance this. Yeah. We today, for example,
had that share sale, which I was actually going to ask you, because you raised your target of over £1 billion in the share sale. Does that mean that you're going to be okay in terms of financing for the next couple of years, yeah, or will you need to do another share sales a little bit sooner?
No. We have decided that given the environment in globally first, regionally second, in Egypt third, that we need to get into this period with a very strong balance sheet. So the first step that you've seen today is our rights issue. This is a $175 million rights issue, which was successfully done in very difficult environment and in the face of very difficult images that were coming from Egypt during the closing. You know, you had Maspero and the images that you've seen. Terrible time to close a transaction, and in spite of that, we were able to. Yeah. That's done. The second thing that we're doing is we are extending the tenor of our debt, yeah, and increasing the size of our debt. So it is, we said in our statement, yeah, today that we are going to increase the size of the debt by, yeah, $150 million. The third is we are going to make very small disposals that will get us around $50–60 million. So coming into this with around $350 million of firepower will provide us with a fantastic opportunity to look at growing our existing portfolio, yeah, first, and then maybe at a later stage in time making additional investments.
Ahmed Heikal, thank you so much for joining us today. That was the chairman of Citadel Capital.